Then, so apparently PlayStation's got pro controllers now. I would be more excited for PlayStation having pro controllers if PlayStation wasn't a couple years behind. Meaning Xbox One didn't already do it and hadn't already had the Xbox, they call them Elite controllers. Um, the $150 controllers, which you can get a Halo version, a Gears of War 4 version, which you can map the controller by hooking it up to your Xbox One. Um, but PlayStation requires you to pretty much hook it up to like a computer. Go figure. You can't really map a pro controller for PlayStation through a PlayStation 4 because you can't really map a PlayStation 4 controller even if it's just a basic controller. So, something they're toying with, it seems like to me that, okay, they're figuring stuff out. However, they're just kind of toying with ideas because this would have been addressed a while back when they realized that Xbox came out with button mapping at launch. They would have been like, oh, this needs to be addressed because obviously it's a thing. Even though the competition isn't selling, it's something that's a thing because it's offered. So let's take a look into it and actually do it, considering we're gonna steal Call of Duty from them. We're gonna house Call of Duty now. We're gonna be where Call of Duty goes. Let's make, even if it seems like it's very trivial, the most trivial things, let's make them matter most on our piece of plastic, as many people put it. Because if we don't, the smallest thing can come back and bite us in the ass. And that's to say, here you are now, whether it was last year they started toying with the idea and it's just now kicking into gear, or it's just kicking into gear now and they started toying with it at the beginning of this year. They realized that, hey, people are actually willing to spend the money on a pro controller because it offers a lot of options. But yet, Xbox has had the pro controller idea, they just call it Elite, for about 2 years. Because the hardcore gamer, as PlayStation puts it, is willing to fork out the money. They're willing to fork out the extra, what, $100 for a controller that you can customize yourself and have in your hands with the extra bumpers and all that stuff for the Call of Duties, for the racing games, for the first person shooters. They're willing to fork that out. And like I said, unfortunately Xbox beat PlayStation to the punch with that. And PlayStation is not the easiest one to work with for that because if you can't just plug it into the PlayStation and map the buttons on your PlayStation, Xbox has an advantage there because you can do that with Xbox. You can literally plug it into your Xbox and you can go into the options of button mapping, which is on the Xbox in the settings. You can do that and map the controller from there. It's right there on the settings. Is it settings, under configuration. I'm not exactly sure how to do it because I'm not looking at it, but it's right there in the settings menu. And I mean, hell, I'm pretty sure if you went out and bought a new controller and you tried to connect it right now, it would pull up button mapping. Because, I mean, when you buy a new console, day one, it even tells you, hey, you can map the buttons right now. So that's another, another plus on the side of Microsoft that they don't offer on PlayStation. Because when I turned on my PlayStation for the first time, it didn't offer, button mapping, and I've never seen them offer that. So that's something to think about if you're actually going to go spend the money on the PlayStation 4's Pro controller, as they put it, is you have to hook it up to a computer just to map the, buttons, which to me seems kind of weird. Why would you want to map buttons on a PC when you're buying the controller for your system if you're not using it for a PC? You see what I'm saying? Um, but I just thought that was really weird, and I just found out about them having pro controllers through watching another video on PlayStation Access. I like watching those guys; they're kind of funny, and they just did it on this video. I don't know when they put it out, but I just saw it just today, so I just watched it and I was like, why is it you gotta hook it up to a computer? That's just really fucking weird and odd to me to have to hook up a PlayStation controller to a computer just to map the buttons when on Xbox you don't. You just plug it into the Xbox and you can map the buttons through the options, like the settings is right there. I can even do that with my regular standard controller that came with the fucking system. That seems like a lot of work to buy a controller that I'm already paying a lot of money for. I should be able to plug it into the PS4 and map it through the PS4. So that seems like a drawback. If I was to pay the extra money for a controller like that, I would go out and personally buy the Xbox controller just because I know I can come home, plug it into my Xbox, and map it that way, rather than have to spend extra time mapping it on a PC when I'm more than likely not going to be using it on a PC. You see what I'm saying? So anyway, um, I don't know why. I just thought that would be a topic to talk about, or even why I watch videos right now when I know that I'm supposed to be Well, everybody's gone right now, so I was watching videos and I was like, shit, this is really odd. I didn't know this was a thing. So there you go. Another video snuck before the holiday. Deuces.